Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I am Kaythebookworm, and first of all, I want to say thank you for everyone who watched the Brookelyn Mosley episode. By now, that episode should be out for about maybe 2 weeks now. So I want to say thank you for that. And today, I have another close friend of mine who I've met on Twitter. I met this lady when I read Coffee in the Noon. And then from there, we just kind of became really close friends. And I go to her whenever I'm feeling very down and out of my creative works, especially when it comes to Adobe. And she is a piece at Adobe and all of her things. And I just want to say thank you for being that friend where I could just talk to you about
You're
anything.
welcome.
And ladies and gentlemen, I have Miss Harleigh Rae with me. So how are you doing tonight?
I am doing great.
Very good.
I'm about to get in baker mode. I'm coming out of maker mode, getting into baker mode Friday for some.
Okay,
Other than that, I'm good.
that's
Cool.
good. That's good. So I have a couple of questions for you. Um, And these are just kind of like speed round questions. First thing that comes to your mind, then goes from there. So the first question is your favorite trope to write.
Easy. Second chance romance.
Okay. Your favorite trope to read.
Hood shit. I mean, I don't know if that's a trope, but that's
Not a trope, but it's a genre, so I'll take it. Um, I know this is weird, but marriage of convenience or enemies to lovers?
marriage and convenience.
Convenience. Oh, that's a good one. Okay. Friends to lovers or let's go with billionaire lover.
Billionaires.
Right. And the last one, slow burn or instant love?
I like a slow burn. I love a slow burn.
Okay. All right. So the first question I have for you is how and why did you start writing?
How? I've been writing forever, but I will say what made me want to go into writing books was I always read and write. It was just always something fun. And then when I was in the fifth grade, we had like choice centers. So
Mhm.
like for 30 minutes, you got to pick where you wanted to go. And the only places that I would pick were either I will always pick the books until I was told I can't keep picking books. Like other people,
Mhm.
there's a cap on how many kids can go into a center. So it's like
Okay.
you can't keep picking books because other people want to read.
Yeah.
So my teacher's like, well, why don't you try writing? You like to read the books. Maybe let's try to go to the writing center. So I went to the writing center and I would write. And then I started wanting to go to the writing center all the time. So it
Mhm.
was like, she would make little booklets with that ugly, like handwriting paper that teach you how to write with like the
Yeah.
picture and the dotted lines.
Hmm.
And she would put construction paper together because teachers, they're so innovative. And she would staple it and make little booklets. And then she would like write the stories I would write. She would put them into the library. And
Oh.
so that is like what made me be like, oh, maybe I should be a writer, instead of a lawyer, because that was my first dream. So
Yeah.
I will say writing was always something I like to do, but not
Mhm.
necessarily something that I saw myself doing for a living
Got it.
till I got to middle school.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. So your recent book that just came out is Parachute.
Yes.
Guys, I'm gonna tell you right now because you know I have not finished reading that book yet. Reason being is because it is a very slow burn book. And my readers know me. I don't really do well with slow burns. So I take my time when it comes to slow burns. But I will say what I've read so far, I am about 65% in the book so far. I'm gonna just say it right now. I don't like Phoenix. And I know Phoenix is near to your heart, but I don't like her.
No one does. I'll just preference that. No one who's sent me messages, talks to me about Parachute has liked Phoenix. And I'm perfectly okay with that.
Really?
Yes. Well, I always say like I'm a person who also does not always connect with the person. I'm a villain lover. So let's
Yeah.
just I be on Twitter all the time going up for
Hmm.
villains in TV and movies and books. I am a villain girl because I stand behind some of them be having a reason.
Yeah.
So I get people not liking her, but I also say like we don't extend each other grace enough. But I feel like no one likes her.
I mean, I'll
And
say this though. I understood her reasoning of why she did what she did. I'm just going to spoil it. So basically, it's about a woman named Phoenix who suffers from lupus, and she never thought that she would find love, and she was given a couple of months to live until she passed away. So in her coffee shop that she goes to, her homegirl Ford goes to, she meets Blaze, and Blaze is a doctor who is full time BED. I freaking love that man. I wish he was freaking real life. Just saying. But from there, they meet and they quickly fall in love. But Phoenix has an episode where her lupus flares up, and instead of being a woman and telling him that he had lupus, telling her, she basically just goes into that. And the next time that she sees him is like, 7 months later in a hospital bed. And I was just like, when I read that part, Harleigh, I was just like, I had to put it down. I was like, so that's how he found out.
he found out. And I will say, I'll say this. I liked her friends and family, because they don't stand behind her. They don't stand behind her like reasonings. Like, even though everybody is like, well, we understand her friends and family are like, no, we don't understand. Like, why would you ever do this? But I did something similar. I feel like I'm better than Phoenix because I didn't ghost him. I just broke up with him. But like, it was the same kind of thing where I'm just like, yeah, no, I'm not doing this. But I didn't ghost him. So I feel like I'm better than her. I'm bigger than her because I'm judgy. Like I said, I am a judgy reader of my own work. So like, I don't agree with half the stuff that the female characters in my books do. I separate myself from my own art. I'll be like, yeah, no, girl, why you do that? I wouldn't do that. So yeah, I'm like, girl, I wouldn't have ghosted him. I would have just been like, yeah, this not working out for me. I feel like this is going in a direction that I just said I was trying to have fun, and we getting out of fun and we getting into serious. I'd have broke up with him, but I wouldn't have ghosted him. I will say that I wouldn't have ghosted him. I would have just been straight up like, this is going in a direction I don't want to go in right now. And I got too much going on, because she did have a lot going on.
She did.
A little bit. You had a lot of nothing because like you work from home, and aside from your editor, like, girl, you was chilling.
Yeah.
But internally, I'll say she had a lot going on. So I understand like wanting to not be going down that path. But I don't feel like she should have ghosted him either.
But
I don't hate her for it. I don't hate her for it. I just feel like,
I don't hate her for it. I just say strongly dislike. Yeah. But my question is, why didn't she tell him? Is it because of her past, and she thought that either she was in my head
part of it? So a big part of it was, am I about to just have a repeat of what I had before? Am I about to just, is it like, we gonna go through this and I'm gonna tell them, and then it's more so trying to avoid the hurt, but ultimately you still hurt yourself because like you're alone, like you're literally torturing yourself. Like you're alone in this big old house that you decided, to make a home because of him. Because let's be for real, girl, he was living out of boxes.
But no furniture. But
so it's like you didn't make it a home until you had some. So it's like, you thought about having, to me, I take it as you thought about in the back of your mind, like maybe you could have a future with this person because now you want to live your home alone, like even forgetting about, you're not thinking about everything else that's going on with you, like you're unpacking. But I mean, I guess in the midst of that, you also unpack the bed. And when she gets to the unpacking of that stuff, it became too much. And it's just like, am I going to go down the same path where I'm building this life with someone and then they find out what's going on, and then it's just like, yeah, I'm not dealing with that. Like, I'm going to choose that I'm not going to deal with this, and I'm just going to leave you. So I feel like a lot of it was her maybe trying to avoid that, and then some of it was just her being not an adult at her big old age.
Because she's 31. I'm about to be 31 in like a couple of days, so I kind of understood that. But my thing,
and I was 31 like 5 months ago. So
yeah. So come on now, we grown. But my thing is too, though. When it came to that, I don't think Blaze is gonna do that to her. I mean, granted, he didn't, because granted, she has a baby. She's pregnant now, so of course she's not. But I feel like if she would have told him, if anything, I do believe, because he is a doctor, I do believe he was probably either going to be overbearing, or
he was,
or think,
he was,
or
Which
think of or think of things to try to, like, I won't say cure because uncurable, but try to make her be better than she was. Because the situation with her, ghosting him and then not telling her sister about, we're going to get into it in a minute, not telling her sister about being pregnant, or not even telling her sister about Blaze in general.
Yeah, right.
Like, but you told the husband, and I commend the husband.
She didn't really have a.
She
She didn't
didn't have a
tell
choice.
him. Remember,
She didn't have a choice.
tell him.
But
She
in the
got
back
cold.
of my head,
Yeah,
because she told Trav.
mm-hmm.
I was in my head, I'm like reading that part, and I was just like, Trav is a good one. Because normally, husband and wife, they like the pillow talk.
Yeah.
And the fact that he didn't tell her, or did he tell her, she was just surprised about it. So that was my thing. And I was just like, husband and wife like the pillow talk a lot. So I was like, so did she already know?
I mean, it could have been the reason that she's like, hey, come on, let's go see your favorite movie,
Yeah.
And get snowballs. So it's like, yeah, I'm about to throw this on you, but before I even get a chance to throw it on you, you just, fall out. Like we didn't even get to see our movie. I gotta go get a refund on our tickets.
Yeah.
Like, it's like she derailed a lot. I feel like she made an already complex situation even more complex than it had to be. And a lot of it is like, girl, what is you doing? Like, I say that a lot about a lot of things, and a lot of the time I'm writing like, girl, what is you doing? Like for real, that's how you wanna rock this. Like you just gonna just go. And even straight up, Forge literally told her in the car on the way from the hospital, like, this is really what you about to do. Like, I know you're doing this, and I'm telling you, like, this is not the way to go, sis. Like why? But that's what she did. And no one's happy with her for it. I'm not happy with her for it because Blaze is a good man. Listen, if I had a Blaze, I'm trying to spend every second. Like, I'm bringing you lunch to the hospital every day just because I need to see your face. Like, when you're away from me. Like,
she told this man, I don't have your number. This man not only gave him the selfie, gave him the work,
straight airdrop the whole contact,
gave him the freaking address on the first date. Who does that nowadays? And then even bat it eye.
I'm taking probably like 5-6 months before I let you know where I live. Like, we meet at dates.
Didn't bat an eye. Want to go? She wanted to do driving. He couldn't find it, so he made it, y'all. He made a drive-in for her. Like, is she about to get that up for 4 months? For what? For what reason?
And that's why I'm like, I get that you are afraid, and I like what Reese told her. Like, you can't compare apples to oranges. Like, he wasn't on that same level. And then I also feel like because they were so young, that could have played a part into it. Like, you were young when you were with him, so yeah, maybe at 20. No one's thinking about you. Like I say all the time, like, your 20s are your fun and your F up years.
Yes.
Your time to just explore, figure out who you are, date yourself, and date others. You need to know what you like. So it's like, it's just discovering yourself, what you want to do, how you want to live your life, what are you contributing to society, those kind of things. So yeah, I get at 20, 21, 25 years old, you're building this life with someone, because I feel like, I mean, if he left you for that, he'd left you for anything, girl. He probably was cheating on you. I'm just saying. Because I'm like, it was just too fast. It was more of a, oh, this is my out.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I was already planning my exit, and then boom, you gave it to me. Was more so what I felt with that situation. And I feel like you comparing apples to oranges. Like, look at the names, Blaze and Dara. Like, their names not you comparing apples to oranges, sis. Is what I felt like she was doing a lot of the time. Like, you really like she was a self-sabotager real big.
Yes, that's nothing too. She was a definitely self-sabotager, because I was just like, this man is here for you because he wants to be here. Like, he don't have to be here. He didn't have to pay $100 on a $6 cup of coffee or tea. That's just it.
Even though Ford just petty, I'd have gave that back.
Like, really. No, I would have kept it. But
then again, no, because that's a nice hefty tip.
I would have kept that.
Look for all the other tips that people didn't get.
Exactly. Right. I would have kept that $100. Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. With a nice smile on my face. But it's just like, it just irks me because like I get it. And granted, I don't have any illnesses, so I've never had lupus, never been diagnosed with lupus. So, and I know that you are. So, how was the experience of writing this book with your real life? Like, how did that interject?
It was hard because it forced me to look at myself and my life in the way that I have and probably kind of still am self-sabotaging a lot of, things like and I talk about this a lot. I used to talk about this a lot with my friends. Like I became a recluse. I was like the social butterfly. Parties, I'm throwing them. If I ain't throwing them, I'm at it. Like I just love being around people. I love just a good time. Like a good time is just me. I am an experience. I am a vibe. I'm an energy person. I love it. I love to create it. I love to make sure everyone else has it. I am big on good times and events. Like that's just what I am.
Mm-hmm.
It could be something as simple as me and my family saying, let's go to the park. And I'm gonna just make it a whole thing. Like, oh, we gotta have this. We're gonna do this. The video I put up today, we went to the playground and did a sipping paint, like we just doing all the things. So like in the midst of my diagnosis, I became a recluse. And writing that story made me realize just how much. Because like, yeah, you're judging her, but girl, you did the same thing, but on a different scale. Like, same. Like I said, I broke up with the person that I was with when I found that I was diagnosed with lupus. I did not ghost him. I just broke up with him. I also was only 18 years old. So, there's a difference since you're 30. So you live like she lived more than me. I feel like, and I say all the time, like at 18, we are fresh. I was literally, I got diagnosed midterms of freshman year.
Oh, wow.
So literally I had I'm just fresh out of high school dealing with this. And let me backtrack. I wasn't just diagnosed with lupus. I was just diagnosed with like the most severe. I've since maybe 9th or 10th grade, I had, the discoid one, which is like hair loss. You get the rashes. It mainly just affects your skin. But I got diagnosed with systemic, which overloads all organ systems when I went to high school. When I went to college. So for me, I'm like, yeah, I didn't know as much as her. I wasn't as far in my life. I was nowhere near in my career at all. In school for something completely different. Like I wasn't even in school for creative writing at this point. I was in school for photography. So like, again, exploring and finding yourself and figuring out what you want to give to the world, because I found out photography wasn't it for me.
Yeah.
But it that aspect of it. So it forced me to look at myself. It forced me to, and even now, like I reflect a lot on Parachute. Like I'm actually rereading and annotating Parachute for myself as a reader. And it's different on this side. Because like when I was in it writing, yes, I'm experiencing it. And let me tell y'all, I felt all the feels. Like I was a crying, blabbering mess. Like I'm having to like voice memo my friends to like keep me out of a dark place the whole time I'm writing, because it's like it took me back to certain moments in like my own life. The opening to Parachute is literally a page from my own diary from when I got diagnosed. So like that whole opening scene of her in the hospital, sitting on the table alone by herself, getting this diagnosis. Well, then she, in that part, she already had her diagnosis, but mine was like the day after I got my diagnosis, I wrote that exact journal entry that I just was like, you know what, I'm going to use this because I want them to know that this is not going to be a walk in the park story.
Yeah.
It's not.
Well,
I was about to say it's not typical for Harleigh, but it is typical for Harleigh. I realized that I write heavy, not on purpose, but that's just the way the stories go, and I just let them flow. So on trend for Harleigh, but even more heavily, like it hits. It hits your heart. And I wanted that to be known straight out the gate. Like I didn't want it to be like rosy and rose-colored glasses up until all of the bombs drop. I wanted to be like a ratcheting up. Like it's gonna get heavy. It's gonna be some night. And I will say, I feel like I did good adding in the flowery fun moments, the dates. We needed that. I read and I'm like, ooh, when are we gonna get to this date? Because I need to put the tissues down. Like when are we gonna get to this part? Because I need a breather. Like, So yeah, it really just forced me to look at myself, and I'm realizing there are things about me I don't like. There are parts of Phoenix in me, like I'm judging her so heavily, but I see a lot of her thought process in the way that I've moved in the last 5 to 6 years. And honestly, I don't like it. Um, I don't like how similar we are in some of our thinking, because I'm like, I've not been anywhere near as bad. Like for the past maybe 4 to 5 years, I'll say I've been the healthiest that I've been in a long time. So it's like, these are your times to live, and you're not really living. Now, granted, we had to deal with COVID in a little chunk of
Yeah,
it,
I do COVID.
but we had to deal with the pandemic in a bit of it. But like, I'm just at 32 years old, really, I feel like starting to live
Yeah.
outside of having my lupus. Like, it controlled a lot of my story in my life and my personal life.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize just how much until like now when I'm rereading. Not even in the writing, I realized it. The writing just had me very like nostalgic, and a lot of the things she does. Like, I don't know if you got to the part about the letters yet, but
I haven't read them, but she did write them already.
okay, yeah. So the letters is something that I used to do, and I don't do anymore after going to therapy and realizing that that is not healthy. But and I was worse than her, because not only did I used to write the letters, because I am the writer of the family, I also used to write my eulogy every year, because I didn't want no foolishness up in my obituary.
Well,
So yeah,
dang.
I was bad. It was horrible, and my therapist really had to be like, girl, what is she doing? Basically, like, so yeah, I was a mess. And that's why I say, like, I didn't realize just how much until I started like comparing myself to her
Yeah.
in my reading now. Like, girl, you need to get your life together. Like, and even now I'm like, you need to get your life together. Like, you're like, you writing books, and you need to be going to author events. You need to
Yeah.
be going to meet, you like, you need to be doing things, and you're just
Mm-hmm.
sitting in the house making all these things. Like, yeah. So
Do you think that all the characters that you wrote that Phoenix is like the most you relate to, besides the lupus part?
no.
Hmm. So who is character that
The
who is pretty much
character that
character that
I
you relate
feel like, it's a mix. So it's a mix, but both of them are from Big City Bliss. Big City
to?
Bliss is a series that is like loosely based off of like me and my friends. Like, none of the things that they did that they do. Because listen, them girls was on another level, and in
Okay.
that series, we wasn't out here like that. But just like the whole experience of like, we're graduating college, or we're in college, we're in these different phases of our life, and trying to figure out like the stretching and growing up friendship,
Yeah.
like, those changes, and like, we're adults now. So like, the dynamic of the friendship and the things that used to mean the most to us kind of don't
Mm-hmm.
mean as much anymore. How are we dealing with this? How are we growing through this as friends? And will friendship survive it?
Got
Um,
you.
so I feel like I relate to Tegan and Lennox the most,
Okay.
out of all of my characters. More so Lennox, because Lennox, like, she was me when I was that age, like just wilding, don't care about nothing.
Yeah.
I don't like not don't care about anything, but the things that people feel like you should care about, or the things that everyone, like the respectability politics she gives, she doesn't care. Like,
Yeah.
I don't really care what you think of me, outside of the fact that that I am genuine in everything I do.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I mean everything I say. I mean what I say. I'm genuine in the actions that I take. Anything I do is from a place of love and expression, and that is Lennox. So that's me. And I mean, I think that's reflected in anything I do. Like, I just don't care how things, like, to some extent, are received. It's just, this is me. This is who I am. Like, I've always taken that Antoine Fisher quote to heart. Like, this is me, and this is what you get. And
Yeah.
I can only put out what I put out, and what you take from it is what you take from it, and leave what you don't. So that's Linux, and that's, I feel like I relate to that more than Phoenix.
All right. So I'm gonna be right back because I have to show everyone what I got from you. I should have had this like already done, but I didn't. I'm missing a coaster. So I don't know where my coaster is at right now. Oh, I got it. Sorry guys, hold on, give me 1 second. Okay. Oh, and the okay. So because you guys know I'm an active reader, and Kaythebookworm is also basically a business within itself when it comes to arcs and stuff. I am on her art team. And because I'm on her art team, I got a big box. And I will link the video of the box I posted on TikTok. I don't have the mug. The mug is actually in my kitchen right now because I actually like washed it.
It's not down here.
But I got a lot of things from her. And so the first thing I got was a candle that she created that, as you can see, is already lit. I lit it and it smells freaking amazing. Just want to say that. And then I got the lovely blend that was talked about in the book. I haven't used it yet, but guys, when I tell you the thing, it smells so good. It smells so good. And then I got Blaze's ID tag, and it has the QR code for the playlist as well as Blaze and his stuff on the back. And I don't know who this dude is, but he is fine as hell.
Some stock guy.
And I'm like, hey boo, how you doing? I got a letter that you can make out of a plant, what I thought was super cool. And I cannot wait to do this because it's been raining like crazy. So once I gotta get some soil and stuff because I'm definitely going to use this. Stickers. And I just want to say you are the 90s romance queen.
Thank you.
Because baby, reading that and I saw The Wood, which is my all-time favorite movie of all time.
Mine too.
Everybody knows me. And I'm taking Kaythebookworm out of this. Anybody who knows Shakana knows that The Wood is my favorite movie that I can quote from the beginning to the end, no fuck ups. Period.
I love The Wood.
Can't do it. I can do it.
90s, like, I don't know. I literally just feel like, and I wrote this the other day on TikTok, like, I don't even care if it's not made in the 90s. Like, if I watch it and it just makes me, or hear it and it just makes me feel 90s, like, I'm so old. Like, that's just, the 90s just make me feel good inside.
I don't have the mug right now, but God, you see it. But Love Jones, another classic, another favorite of my top 5. Inkwell, not in my top 5, maybe my top 10, but still a classic movie. Like, come on. Then I have the coaster that says "Love Me Like the 90s." So I'm like, come on. Come on. So because my mom is not here, my mom's actually eating, and I have questions too, because what made you want to do this book box, put all this stuff in here, and what is the secret to making a book box? Because when I tell you I got this book box, y'all, I knew I was going to get something, but I was not expecting to get all of that. And I'm going to say here now, this, out of all the book boxes I have, and I don't get me wrong, I love all the people that gave me a book box. I have to say this one is my favorite one so far.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Because of the 90s and like just seeing this and just seeing how you actually like just so when I saw the cup, I was like, oh, come on. And then I saw the coaster. I was like, oh, come on. So what made you want to do the book box and create it?
So I'm an experienced person. I talk about a lot of times I talk about my life, like just growing up in Baltimore City. I lived a lot of places in Baltimore City, lots of hoods, east side, west side, like I lived them all. So I spent a lot of time reading. Lots of time is supposed to be like, I always am strategic, and whenever we move, I have 3 siblings, so I'm strategic, and normally me and my little sister would get the biggest room because we would always share.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that our bedroom was always in the back because there was always a street light in the alley. Mm-hmm. So I can read even when I'm supposed to be asleep. And granted, I got in trouble a lot because it makes me late for school. But that was always me. Like, I created a whole vibe in the mood around reading, even when I was younger, taking my mom's like Black expressions and locking myself in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Having a bubble bath, just sitting until just getting lost in a book. And when I started to, and then for a while, I didn't have time to read as much as I did before, like, or even like when I became a writer, I wasn't able to read as much. Like, I always read, but as much. And then I'm like, and then I started teaching. So it's like, where am I going to find time to do anything? So I was like, I started to niche out like I don't care what you do. You need to end every single day reading at least 30 minutes. Like you need to end your days with a book before you close your eyes, before you do your journaling and say your prayers. You need to read something for fun. Don't read the material that you're going to use in your lesson plan tomorrow. Don't read any kind of curriculum materials. Don't start picking out books that you're using in the next curriculum. Like read strictly for you.
Yeah.
And doing that, I started to create a mood around reading. And I'm also big on just Black everything, Black love, Black people, Black business, Black
everything Black. Right.
Excellence. If it's Black, it's me. It's right. It's all I want. It's
everything Black.
Right. So even in writing my books, there's always somebody in there owns a Black business, and most of the time it's gonna go back a couple generations. If it's not like a new startup, it's been around for generations. So I've always, with my very first book box, everybody was just like, "We wish Vines and Vinyl was a real place. We wish this was a real place," and I'm just like, "Bet I'm gonna make it happen. I don't know how, but I'm gonna make it happen." And so I did the first box, and it sold out twice. I had to constantly restock it until I told them, like, look, y'all, I'm tired of having to, like, not tired of dealing with the wine vendor, because they was amazing. Like, that was great. Like, I had such a great time doing that.
Yeah.
It was a lot to ship that stuff because it was alcohol. Like, it was a lot around it. So I'm like, I'm not restocking this again, but I can still give you book boxes.
Yeah.
So then I did, and then I feel like I am a big person that's like, if I'm spending my money on something, I want some value.
Yeah.
And I want things that I can keep forever. I'm a hoarder when it comes to an experience and a vibe and how things make me feel. I will try to keep something forever. I literally have you can kind of see it in this video. There's a picture back there my nephew made when he probably was like 2 or 3 with the cardboard and some cotton of snowballs. He literally just turned 10. And it's still back there because, like, if it make you feel good, I'm gonna keep it.
Yeah.
So I like to create things that make people feel good, and I want it to be things that they can keep forever. Like, in the midst of, like, moving. As a kid, I moved a lot. I lost a lot of things that mean a lot to me, except for my books. I hold on to my books and I will guard them with my life. Like, books don't go in a moving van. They go in the car with us because I cannot lose my books. So it's like, there are certain things like you try to hold close, but you can't, and you lose them. And I get so frustrated. Like, remember I had this. So I want to be the person to create those things for people. I want things that you're like, I remember where I was when I got this. I remember how this felt when I first opened it up. I was like you said, I never, excuse me 1 second. Case, get off of the bubble wrap and have a seat. Sit down. Bye. And my dog is playing with bubble wrap. But and it was like it was bothering me. But I like to make people feel good. Like, I am big on just like lifting a mood. If you're having a bad day, you can count on Harleigh to, like, bring you some sunshine. Like, I hold true to when Forge tells her, like, you are lights. And even though you think that we help you, we give you hope, you also give it to us. And that's all I want to do. Giving people a little bit of hope, a little bit of love. And, like, my book boxes, I always try to make them give the same vibe that story is giving. So, like, Forge is big on, everyone knows she's holistic, she's healing, she just love in human form. Like, I love Forge. She absolutely is my favorite character that I've ever written. I just love her as a person, as a friend, the way she ride for her grandma in Coffee in the Noon. Like, I just love her. And I was like, when I did the Coffee in the Noon box, I'm like, how can I give people a piece of her? And I also like drinkware. So you're always gonna get some kind of cup from me. If it ain't a tea, it's a wine. Like, you need to drink with a book. I don't care if you just drinking ice cold water. You need something that's gonna calm you down or heat you up, depending on what you're reading. Like, you need it. So that's just pretty much was my goal. Like, my goal is just always to extend the experience that you get from my stories. If it's a very heavy story like Parachute was, because Parachute is so heavy, I wanted the things in the box to be things that were calming, that were relaxing, that were like bringing you back, grounding you, like regrounding. I feel like anytime you're reading anything heavy, they teach us this as in my job too, because I work with, like, disadvantaged children. So they teach us, not disadvantage, I hate that word, but
I get it.
I mean, yeah. So they teach us that, like, always being grounded. You never know what the children that you are encountering, that you are working and helping with, what they are encountering on a daily basis. And a lot of it can be a lot, and it can be very heavy to you because you want to take that on. Especially, I work with 4 and 5-year-olds. So like, you don't want 4 and 5-year-olds to come in having bad days, feeling that, and you just want to hug them and squeeze it all out, and you take it all on and just be that empath for them. So they always teach us to be grounded. So the idea for the parachute book box was to keep readers grounded in the midst of all the heaviness that they were reading.
Oh, you definitely did that.
And the dislike for Phoenix, remaining grounded, not in the story, remaining in the now, even though you are reading this. But then also constantly keeping in mind that the love, that is love, like it's a love story. And that's pretty much what's my idea with the book box. And then the 90s was just a big theme of the book. They were 90s.
Guys, it's like nothing but 90s like recommendations.
She's just like, she's a big Lorenz Tate fan. So like, he is 90s. Like,
he is. I agree.
Most of the movies that I love from the 90s, he's in. So it's like, so her love for him in his movies is what made me like, how can I incorporate that? And I had those designs on my computer for a bit of a minute, and I never knew like what I wanted to do with them. So I was just like, oh, you're going to do all over print design, and then you don't know what you're going to put it on. And then I'm like, oh, let's do a coaster and a cup. And then that's how, and there, I also have a playlist called Love Me Like the 90s that I made years ago. And it's one of my favorite playlists, which is why that's what the coaster said, because that's the name of my music playlist. But
so we're gonna, hold on one second. All right. So just 2 more questions and then we're out of here. My next question is, somebody came up to you on the street and said, I want to write books. What would be your advice?
Do it. Because a lot, and I say that because a lot of people feel like, let me preface this, writing a book is hard. But I feel like lots of people that I talk to about writing books think that it's unattainable, or that it is like this far-fetched thing. And I'm like, it's 2023. You don't have to quarry for, and not to say that the goal, if your goal is traditional publishing, because even if it is traditional publishing, even though that is your end goal, that not necessarily where you have to start.
Yeah.
You don't have to quarry for 30 years and keep getting no after no after no after no before you decide to put out your first book, like it used to be back in the day. When and I'm not even old. My nephew considers me old. I don't consider myself old. I know I'm an auntie, but still, I quarried, when I first was wanting to go, because I'm like, publishing is expensive.
It is.
Every single thing that I do comes out of my pocket. There's no one backing me. So it would be nice, to have someone fronting me in advance to do what I do, because even book boxes, like anything I do, it's very expensive.
Yeah.
Now I'm going into audiobooks, so that's a whole nother set of expenses. It's a lot. So like, I get wanting to be traditional publishing, wanting to have that notoriety, but I feel like that same notoriety, success, dollar signs, deals, we can get all of that without having to be signed to someone. And a lot of times, and I will say, I can't even say a lot of times, every single time that I've talked to anyone that I run into, like on the street, even at school, when I was like in the classroom, and people find out I wrote, I did write a children's book before under my government name. That was one on my birth certificate. And even when I wrote that, teachers, people at the school were like, was it hard? And I was like, the writing wasn't hard because I like to write. And the things I write about, like, there are aspects of writing to me that are hard, but it's never getting the story down on paper. That's not the hard part for me. The hard part for me comes when it gets edited, that first
you gotta go back
first round of edit, so like, that's when it gets hard for me. But the initial like draft, unless depending on the subject matter, Bleeding Love was hard for me to write. Everything about it. There was nothing easy about Bleeding Love. The subject matter, the research that went into it. I researched that book for like a year before I even started writing it. So like there are aspects of writing that are hard, but the actual writing, when you decide this is something you want to do, it's not hard. Like once you make up in your mind that this is what you're going to do, it's not hard. So I always tell people like, if you want to do it, just do it.
Yeah.
Just pick up a pen and start writing. That literally would be my first. You want to write a book? Then start writing. Because saying I want to write a book, I always wanted to write a book, you never gonna hold a book in your hand. Just start writing.
True.
Just literally start writing. And I will say write and find your tribe. And I don't mean your reading tribe, not like your tribe of readers who is going to be the people supporting your book. I mean, find your tribe, the people who's going to be supporting you through the writing phase.
Yep.
And have at least, to me, 3 people, because when one of them not available, you like there are certain times where you need somebody. Like I said, when I was writing Parachute and even in Bleeding Love also, there were times that the writing got so heavy and took me to such a dark place. I'm literally like in the group chat. I'm in the group chat with like some of my friends who also write. None of them are published. They like write different things. Like one is a copywriter, one works in like media design like me, so she writes a lot. So like I have a group chat with just people who write just anything, like it doesn't matter. And then a group chat that is specific to my fictional writing career, because you need a tribe that is going to hold you up when you can't hold yourself up, who's going to pull you out of those moments when you can't pull yourself out. Because I don't care how strong anyone is, we cannot do it alone.
I agree with that.
And when people say they do, I'm just like, you kind of really don't. Like there is at least one person, and if you don't, I'm afraid that you get that one person, because I feel like we all need just one. At least. But if you can, at least 3 people, and just because you need backups when one's not available. But when I say find your tribe, I mean find your people. Find people like you can shoot a DM and say, hey, I'm struggling with this. Can you help me out? Or you can shoot an audio. I'm writing my book. I'm stuck at this point. This is what I have so far. And I know where I want it to end up, but I don't know what needs to happen in the middle to get it there. Like someone you can sit there, audio, listen. I need to buy. I literally just told my mom the other day, like, I gotta give it up. Like, I've been hanging on to this iPhone. I don't even know what I have. I want to say this is an iPhone 12. Like, I'm the one that when my phone is working for me, I am loyal to my devices when they work. I'm not working getting new ones. Now I do now because I'm going into content creation and my 12 not cut some of my video stuff I want to do. I'll be looking at tutorials and I'll be like, oh, that feature not on my phone. I gotta get this, But the reason why I now don't have a choice but to get a new phone is because my phone is so full of audio messages that I don't want to delete, because they are ones I refer back to as pick-me-ups. Literally one of my promos for Parachute, the Blaze one that I did the other day, that is literally from an audio message. Like that beginning is literally me and my friend, and she read it and she's just like, oh yeah, this is my cousin. Like he's the fam. He's the fam. Like, and that's why I'm like, I'm using this because like one, you never know what you could use the audio clips for, depending on what it is. And I always get permission. Like if I want to use someone's voice, I'm like, I really like this. And I had this idea for this piece of content. Can I use this? That, something we talked about. There's another one that I'm going to put up next week with the same person, but it's a little more like about our relationship as friends and me dealing with my situation and how she felt reading Parachute. And I'm going to share it. But, I feel like you need those people. You need people to remind you when you lose sight, because no matter how much confidence we have, when you are by yourself alone in a room with just you and your manuscript, or you and whatever you're doing, or you could be doing nothing. Because sometimes I feel like I'm not doing enough. And my mom and my best friend literally tells me, and I said this the other night, she literally tells me like, you're not adding anything else to your plate. Like she'll come. I don't care how cool you think something is, or like something you want to try. You're not doing it. Like pick these things, and that's what you're sticking to for this year. Like she told me that in December when I was setting my goals for this year. She's like, yeah, take that off your list. Take that off your list, because like you're not about to stress me out.
Yeah.
Because when I'm not hitting what I want to hit and I'm not meeting the goals that I want to hit, I'm stressing out in their DMs, in their audio messages. Like I'm not. So you need those people to remind you, because I'm not good at keeping track of my wins. and really celebrating them. I have not, to me, I feel like Bleed in Love Parachute did way better than I thought it was going to. Even with like my book boxes, like they did better. They're almost sold out, and I didn't expect that. I didn't expect them to almost sell out. And then like I went way up on the price point than from what my book boxes usually are, but that's because there's so much more in them now, and I do so much more of it myself now. It's not outsourced anymore, and everything is done in house. And I don't celebrate those wins. I don't celebrate the fact that like pretty much anything I send out was made from my hand. I don't celebrate. I'm always like, I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing enough. And you need a tribe. You need people to remind you when when you're being hard on yourself. We are our worst critics. I know I am. Like and this is why I say nothing that anyone says to me, says about me, is ever going to get under my skin or bother me, because no one is ever going to be harder on me than I am on myself. I give myself the blues.
I agree.
I give myself the blues real bad. Like I literally will, and it's like I beat myself down and tear myself up. And it's because I'm like, I know I could be doing more. And it's like, but you are doing so much. And everyone's like, you're doing so much. You're doing XYZ. And I'm also in the master's program. You know that we talk about this all the time. Like, oh my God, I can't wait till this is over. So it's like, you're doing a lot, but then it's like, you need people to remind you to celebrate your wins. You need people to lift you up when you're just like down and you just cannot pull yourself up, because sometimes it gets to those points where you just cannot pull yourself up. It could be the story you're writing. It could be a project you're working on, and something that's just not going right. Like today, I flipped out at the daggone ATM because it's like, and if my sister wasn't there, I probably would have got arrested because the ATM wasn't doing what I wanted it to do. And I'm like, why are you not working?
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's me, and it wasn't even me. Like, it's not me. That's the reason why this doesn't work. But that's just how I am with myself. So I need that tribe. You know, and then another thing that I always say, and this is just a given, I feel like everyone should know this, like, don't think you know it all. Don't think you can't learn. Never be unteachable. Never feel like you don't need any advice.
Yes,
like,
Lord.
There is an author who's like really, really big, really popular. And like, she used to be my writing coach. And literally, I can write something on Twitter, like something I'm about to do, and she will slide in my text and be like, do it this way. And I'm never going to say, well, no, because I really just feel like, because every time she says like, do it this way, and I listen to her, I reap a reward from it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a person, and even like I'm full-time. This is my first time as a full-time author, and I need the checks to check because I don't want to go back into the classroom. So it's like, you're going to do this, and you need to listen to the people who know these industries, So never be unteachable. Never feel like you, and then people tell me that I inspire them, and I'm like, what? My little ghetto, like the little ghetto girl from for real? Like, you look at what I got going on and you're inspired, because it's like, that's a wow factor to me. And every time someone says it, I text my best friend. I'm like, you see this? Like, I literally screenshot it, like, look what somebody said about me. And I'll be like, I can't believe, like, half the time it's like, I don't know what to respond. Like, I look be like, well, what am I supposed to say back? Because I don't know how to respond to people telling me that I inspired them to do anything.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, I'm hard on myself, and I feel like you're inspired by this, and I feel like I'm not doing enough, but you're inspired by what I've done so far.
So I'm doing something right.
So I guess I'm doing, and that's my mindset. Like, well, I guess I'm doing something, even though I'm not realizing what I'm doing. And I feel like if I didn't have my tribe to constantly keep me out of my head and keep me from beating myself up, then I would like be in a whole nother, like, it would just be bad. Like the other day, I posted a TikTok, and I'm like, I started a company, and like the things that I do in my book box, I now want to and am doing for other authors. I've worked with 2 so far. So I wasn't going to do it. Like, it's something I've wanted to do for a year, even before when I did my very first book box, I was like, I want to do this for other authors. especially when I did my very first book box where I actually like had a custom box.
Mm-hmm.
Because I used to feel like a lot of this stuff, like until I got in school for it and started learning like about how to go about things and keeping costs generally low, like overhead costs low and things like that. I used to think all this stuff was unattainable.
Yeah.
Or I would have a box go out with like anything I designed on the front of it, like designing something and like seeing it. It's like, wow, I did that.
Yeah.
You know, so but I used to think like I don't have enough money. Like I literally am like, because listen, I'm not in a million, and I tell people this all the time. And this is why I'm shocked when people say they're inspired me. I am not in a million pages read girly. I have never, I've been writing, I published my first book in 2019. It is 2023, and I have never to this day hit a million pages read in a year. So that's why I'm like, so that should put you in the realm of like why I feel like when I do attain certain things, I'm like, wow, I actually did that. Like
Yeah.
I actually
That makes sense though.
did this box. Like I did this because it's like, how, you know, and sometimes I look back like, how did you pull this off? You know, because, but I just, yeah, that's the advice I would give, right? If you want to be a writer, the first thing you need to do is write. And I don't care what you write, you just write every day. Make it like write every day, and it doesn't have to be for a long time. Sometimes I literally can only get like 10 minutes, depending on what my week is looking like as far as assignments for school, what I still tutor sometimes. So like what that looks like, who I have for tutoring, where they're at level wise for tutoring. Cause
Yeah.
listen, it get rough. A literacy tutor, it get rough.
Yeah.
So like, you know, what I have to do, sometimes I can only get in 10 to 15 minutes a day,
But you
right?
wrote though. That's the
So
count.
yeah, and some people beat themselves up like I only write like I and don't and set goals, but don't be, because I used to do it. I used to set too many goals, and then I did not set them. I wasn't realistic in my goal setting.
That was me. I was like that
Like,
too.
and I realized I had to be realistic for what you have going on versus what other people have going on. Like, you got a lot. And I'm like, girl, you got a lot. Like on days you wake up and you're like, because I still flare. So on there are literally days where Lucas takes me out the game for the whole day and I'm in bed and can't do anything. So it's like, I'm not mindful of that all the time.
Yeah.
So it's like, why am I not here? And I've been doing it for so long. And that was my mindset for a long time. Like, why am I at year 3 or year 2 and I haven't hit this on KDP yet? And I haven't hit this and I haven't hit this. And why haven't I attained this? And why don't I have this? But then I look at, because I wasn't always realistic in my goal setting. Like, yeah, you set these goals, but the time that you have to put into it, you don't have the time. So like, it's unrealistic for you to think that this was going to be attained.
Makes sense.
So, be realistic in your goals, and then don't let people talk you out of anything that you want to do. Don't let scare you out of following your dreams. Just don't do it.
Cool. And my last question is, what is the rest of your plans looking like for this year? 3 things. Give me 3 things that you want to accomplish this year.
That's good, because I think I really only had like literally for the whole year, I only had like 5 goals on my list. So that's gonna be easy. But one thing I plan to do this year is, like I said, I want to partner with other authors to create things for them to have book boxes. Because everybody don't have the time to do this stuff themselves. So, and I feel like it's just fun giving people things that they can keep of your book after they're done reading. It's just fun and it's a cool thing to do. And so I want to do it for others. So that's my goal, working with other authors to make things for their book box. Another one of my goals this year, plans I have this year, is moving into audio. It's a very slow process, but doing that. And then another goal is to be focused more so on the quality of the books that I put out over how many books I am putting out in a year. I used to feel like I had to put out a lot of stuff in a year because
everybody else was doing it.
And not even because everyone else was doing it.
That was my issue.
Because the way KDP is set up, I just feel like
that too.
All the time, then where, like, you know, like if like me, like this year, I'm only planning to release 4 books. I just want to release 4 novels.
Yeah.
And I'm like, because I write every day, I probably will release something else that's not in that because I don't always write on the same, like I don't focus on one story at a time anymore because it wrecks my brain, and
Yeah, makes sense.
I get tired of like, yeah, sometimes I need a break from my characters myself. So I get when readers be like, I need a break, because I be needing a break from them sometimes. So like I be writing more than one thing at a time. And so I may very well put out more than 4, but my goal is only 4.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. That one so far. We'll see what the rest of 2020.
Right. And I just want to say this. She is Mrs. Besides Cherry, she is Mrs. Sunny Roswell. Sorry, so
yes, I am.
Like I apologize. She is Miss Sunny Roswell. Because she hit me up and she got sweet and sour. She was just like everybody else at the same. Everybody else was like, I don't like him. But like getting towards it's like, oh, I love Sunny, blah blah blah. First out the gate, she was like, well, damn, I love this man. So
I might have been like, I don't even think I was out of chapter 1. Like, listen,
it wasn't even out of chapter 1 yet.
I think it was
I
like,
love him.
Yeah, like I love him.
So she's been sending her off. I just wanted to say that. But Harleigh, I just want to say thank you for this interview. I truly, truly appreciate it. You dropped a lot of gems. Acid gems, definitely. Guys, definitely make sure you get Parachute. It is now on Kindle Unlimited, and it's coming to audio very, very soon if you're audio reader. I'll drop all of her links below. I'll drop my links below as well. I do have another video coming up, hopefully soon. Don't know when, don't quote me. I did start back writing, even though I'm supposed to be on my writing break. I did start back writing. I'm doing something different out of the box for me. So I don't know when. I'm not going to tell you when because I don't know when this is coming out. But just know I have been bit by bit writing. I'll just say that. But I'm still on my writing break though. If that makes sense. Period. And then yeah,
we're taking breaks and don't be really taking breaks. But
listen. These characters have been rounding my brain since last.
They be like, girl, break. What? We here?
Exactly. And they came out of nowhere. And I was like, okay, I guess I gotta get one chapter. So I got one chapter in. And I think I have there's another scene that's gonna be in the book that I have to like, I started it, but I kind of just like, oh, I'll just do it tonight. And yeah, so until next time, be you, have fun. I can't even do my whole thing again. What is it? Oh, be you. No, damn it. You know what I mean. Have faith, have confidence. There we go. I gotta think about how to brain fart. Have faith, have confidence. Be you, always love you, and always read what you want to love. No, love what you want to read and write what you want to read. However, y'all know it because I'm not repeating myself. Until next time, guys, have a good day. Bye.